Freak World.
At least build-wise, the Honor 10's design seems fit for a flagship phone. In fact, if you set it next to the Huawei P20, it isn't easy to tell the two apart. But while the P20 is splash-proof, there is no waterproofing on the Honor. The edge of the aluminum frame is tapered, lending a bit of grip to the phone. The back is made of glass and slightly curved towards the frame. When it catches the light, the reflections create some neat patterns on the surface. Near the top, you'll see the horizontal dual camera and the AI camera label next to it, but more on that in a bit. Our black model isn't too flashy, but there are some other color options that really catch the eye. Moving on to the front of the phone, you'll see the tall screen, complete with a notch at the top. But don't worry, if you want, you can hide the notch in settings. The bottom bezel is a bit thick, thanks to the front-mounted fingerprint reader. It's unique in that it sits under the glass. There are no raised borders, and the chin feels totally smooth. Using the fingerprint reader to wake up the phone is a breeze, although since it's based on ultrasonic technology, it isn't quite as fast as on Huawei phones. Face unlock is another option, and is quite responsive. If you're looking for expandable memory, you won't find it on the Honor 10, but you can have up to 128 gigs built in. Also built into the phone is an IR blaster, which the P20 doesn't have. You can use it to control certain appliances around the house. For audio, the Honor 10 has a single bottom-firing speaker next to the USB-C ports. It scored an excellent mark in our loudness tests, and sound quality is very good. And we're happy that the Honor 10 includes a 3.5mm jack too, unlike Huawei's flagships. Audio is decently clear and sounds good through headphones. Let's talk some more about the screen. It's a 5.84-inch IPS LCD display with a 19:9 aspect ratio, just a little bigger than the P20's. The screen has different properties based on its color settings. In the default Vivid mode, colors really pop. The screen is quite bright at around 510 nits, and blacks look great. However, sunlight legibility is mediocre. Nothing too impressive here. Switch over to normal mode and the screen gets a bit dimmer, with 450 nits of max brightness, but with the color slider moved over to warm, this is one of the most color-accurate screens we've ever tested. The user interface of the Honor 10 is Huawei's EMUI 8.1 over Android 8.1 Oreo. There are plenty of custom Huawei apps, including the gallery, music player, and video player, as well as some other preloaded apps and utilities. You can keep apps on the home screen by default, or switch to an app drawer. Navigation is customizable. Besides the default buttons on the screen, you can have a swipeable navigation bar, or use gestures on the fingerprint sensor, which for me is the way to go. And Huawei's theme store allows you to customize the look of your home screen too. The battery of the Honor 10 is 3400 mAh, and battery life is decent, but not outstanding. In our proprietary tests, it earned a 74-hour endurance rating, about the same as the P20. But with the bundled Huawei supercharger, you can charge up lightning fast. We got from 0 to an impressive 63% in only half an hour. Under the hood is Huawei's most powerful chipset, the Kirin 970, also seen in the P20 and P20 Pro. Coupled with 4 gigs of RAM, performance and benchmarks is just as great, among the best in the market. We did notice some heating, but nothing compared to the P20. The Kirin 970 also has a dedicated chip for machine learning acceleration, which is behind the AI-driven camera features. The Honor 10's dual camera setup contains a 16-megapixel color sensor and a 24-megapixel monochrome, both at f1.8. There are some differences from the P20. The Honor 10's lenses aren't Leica branded, and the cameras are missing OIS, and it only relies on phase detection autofocus. But in other ways, there are some improvements. By default, the Honor 10 uses AI to recognize the subject of the photo and adjust settings, just as on the P20. But here, the enhancements don't go overboard, like on the Huawei flagship. Colors end up saturated, and sometimes vignetting is added, but the effect can come out nice. There's very low noise and superb contrast, but some over-sharpening. But despite the dialed-down processing, we prefer to turn it off when shooting. Normal daylight photos have plenty of detail, very accurate colors, high contrast, and almost no visible noise. The dynamic range isn't quite as impressive as on the AI samples though, and there's again a bit of over-sharpening here. The camera also provides 2x hybrid zoom. It's not totally lossless, but there is still more detail than regular digital zoom on other phones. Monochrome photos have even better resolved detail than the color ones, as well as wider dynamic range, amazing contrast, and low noise. Still, shooting in black and white is more of an artistic decision and not for everyone. The two cameras can work together to produce shots with a defocused background behind the subject. You can choose different lighting effects too, which don't change things too dramatically. Portraits come out decent and sometimes really convincing. However, edge detection isn't always perfect. In contrast to the Huawei P20, low-light photos by the Honor 10 are nothing special. They have lifelike colors but are often quite soft, sometimes noisy, and other times the noise reduction smears the fine detail. They're still alright though, we've definitely seen a lot worse. Turning on the AI at night causes shots to come out noisier, but with brighter exposure and warmer colors. It isn't quite the same as the P20's tripod-free night mode. There is actually a night mode on the Honor 10, but it requires a tripod, and in the end, the results definitely aren't worth the hassle. Turning our attention to the front, the 24-megapixel selfie cam is fixed focus, the same as on Huawei's flagships. If you get the focus right, selfies look great, with lifelike colors, amazing detail, and good dynamic range. It also has a portrait mode if you like your selfie backgrounds defocused. Video recordings in 4K at 30fps come out nice and detailed, with pleasing colors, great dynamic range, plenty of contrast, and a steady frame rate. The audio recording is quite nice too. The same can be said for the videos in 1080p at 30fps. They look and sound great. But at 60fps, we really weren't happy with the quality. It comes out quite blurry. There is no stabilization at any resolution either, so you have to keep your hands still to avoid jittery footage.